Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm talking about kids with psychic abilities. Hi, my name is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman. I'm an intuitive psychic medium here in the Sugar Land area. That's just outside of Houston. I work with my angels and guides to assist my clients in many areas of their lives, to bring them special messages from loved ones who have passed, to dialogue with their angels for guidance into their own situation, or to assist them with their own psychic abilities. If you like my content, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I recently had a new client come to me and brought her 6-year-old daughter with her, and our 6-year-old daughter has been talking about past lives, and so this just kind of spurred this video to come out. So I'm so excited that Amy got to come and meet with me, and we get to talk about past lives with everybody, because this is something really important. And I've noticed this a lot more lately, is a lot of young people are coming in and kind of remembering their past lives. And so these are kind of some hints and some tricks to kind of remember and help your child understand. So when your child first starts to talk about a past life, and you don't see the past life, or you don't have that memory, you can just say it that way. Like, I don't have the same memories, but I'm really interested in hearing about yours. I'm really interested to find out what you think, or what you've seen, or what information you came in with. So that just kind of makes the kid understand, like, okay, they don't have the same abilities, but they are very interested in talking about them. One of the things I often tell my young clients to do is kind of like jot down some of the pictures. Like, what are the pictures that you saw from your past life? Sometimes they'll remember pictures or images, and so one of Amy was talking about was seeing a horse pull a car, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And as we were talking, I said, can you draw me a picture of it? And actually her picture kind of really didn't look like a car. It looked more like a carriage. And so it's like, okay, that makes sense. And then we talked about it. We found a picture of it online, and so she was like, yes, it's kind of like this a little bit differently, but we were able to talk about it and just kind of further define that. As they draw their pictures, talk to them about what's going on around. So kind of, are there any rivers or oceans nearby? Are there big mountains or big trees? What type of tree? What do the leaves look like? What does the terrain look like? Is it really cold or really hot? So it kind of gives you some different ideas of kind of where everything is. Sometimes they'll even come through and they will go, I remember grandma when she was a little girl. So that also kind of gives you a time frame of kind of like, okay, when was grandma born and when was she a little girl, to bring in this information. More of information that comes through actually helps you kind of figure out where they lived in that lifetime, or where they came from. Sometimes they've had past lives where they were not connected to the family that they're with now. Sometimes it's a completely different family, but that can also help. So I often have the child and the parent work in connection, the child drawing the pictures, the parents jotting down the story that they're talking about. So now you almost have like a picture book of what the child is seeing. And as they get older and their artistic abilities get better, they can start to bring this in of like, oh, the carriage looked like this, or it looked like this, or the dresses look like that. One of the weird, quirky parts that I often tell my students is, look at your feet. When you're hearing or seeing those things from a past life, look at your feet. It can tell you a lot of information. Sometimes people didn't wear shoes, or the different types of shoes changed over the years. So it kind of gives you an idea of like, where were they, what were they doing? And it also can help with like skin tone. What kind of skin color did you have? Were your skin darker or was it lighter? It just helps you kind of figure out where they are with that. And then, like I said, asking about like the weather, how do they feel? Because a lot of times when they get into a past life, they're not seeing the whole past life. They're only seeing segments of it. And usually those segments are connected to really big energy. A lot of times they'll remember like the day they got proposed to, or the day they proposed to their sweetheart, the day their parents passed, or a big event happened. Mamie that I was talking to remembers the day that she heard about Pearl Harbor, and she didn't really understand it, and she was saying it incorrectly, but then we were able to kind of like figure out this is what she's talking about. And she was able to remember like seeing news reports in the newspapers about Pearl Harbor and some of the pictures that they showed on those days. So it kind of gave us more of an idea of where she was at, what she was going through, and kind of what the world was going through when she was that age. So it kind of gives us a really great place to start. So make sure that you are being honest with your kids, that you may or may not remember some of those lifetimes or may not have the same memories, but then also keep asking them and jot it down as a book. And that's something that will kind of keep their memory going. And as their artistic abilities keep increasing and getting better, it will make it actually easier for them to communicate with you and kind of decide what country were they in, where were they at, what was going on, that sort of thing. Ask them about clothing and shoes and any of those things that they can kind of remember. And the more they talk about it, the more things will start to come up. So let's pull a couple of angel cards and get us a little bit deeper information about kids with psychic abilities and talking about past lives. Truth and integrity. Be in your truthfulness, be in your integrity when you're talking to a child. If you don't have that ability, or you don't, not everybody has the ability to see past lives or to understand them. So if you don't, just tell them that way. I just don't understand, but I'm really interested in finding out about what you see or how you felt during this time frame. And we can talk about it, and we'll find movies or pictures from that era and look at them. So that kind of brings it a little bit more interesting and brings it to life. Spiritual growth. This is all about our spiritual growth, is to accept these kids that come in that have such amazing psychic abilities right off the bat. Like already, even as young kids, Amy was talking about past lives when she was like 2 or 3 years old. Like just as she was beginning to talk, like, I remember when grandma was a little girl. I remember when this happened. So those are the really cool part. Even if she didn't understand all of it, it's kind of deciphering that. But being in your truth and integrity with that. Study. It's a great thing to kind of study those time frames where those kids are talking about as the adult and kind of doing the research. What was happening in the world, what would spur things on, and kind of doing your own research and history lesson of what was going on in that time frame. And because they will come in, sometimes they will remember several past lives, and so you need to make sure that you're kind of putting each past life in its own book, in its own area. That makes it a little bit easier. New loves. Sometimes they will come in and they will fall in love with something that was very popular during that time frame. Amy has a little toy that was very popular during World War II, and she just loves it, and she has a doll that kind of resembles that as well. So it's kind of like her love of her life now have a connection to her past life, and that's really, really cool. And it's really special that her parents have really talked to her about it and kind of left this door open, and not just like, nope, we don't understand it, we don't get it at all. That's the really cool part, to have parents that are supporting their kids as they work through this. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.